Hi, I'm Lauretta Crites, and I'm back today to talk about one of the things that can be quite a challenge for us quilters, especially if you're like me and tend to get a little carried away in this department: fabric storage. Because it's not enough just to stash it away, we need to be able to see it so that we can know when we have the right fabrics for our project. So what I like to do is to store mine in tidy little bundles, and I'll show you how I do it. So here I have a piece of fabric. I've gotten it home from the fabric store. The first thing I want to do is to measure it. I just want to make sure that I can tag all of my fabrics with the amount of yardage so that I can tell as soon as I locate a piece of fabric that I think I like whether I have enough for what I want to do. And it generally comes folded in half, so it's about 22 inches wide. That's not easy for me to store, so what I want to do is fold it in half again so that it's approximately 11 inches wide. Then I will take my 6.5-inch rotary ruler, place it on my fabric, and I use that to fold my fabrics into a consistent size. So I start by placing the fabric edge over the ruler, and then I will just start winding it down again and again until I've gotten to the end of my yardage. Now, sometimes this can be quite a project. If I've got 6 or 8 yards, it's stretched completely across my studio, working hard to make sure that it doesn't drop onto the floor, since my floors are never that clean. But I just keep winding it around the ruler, and then when I get to the raw edge, I will fold that end up, and then I will fold it over again. So I have a clean edge, there aren't any little threads hanging off. Then I can just pull my ruler out, and I have a nice tight bundle of fabric that I can easily store. And folded this way, it gives me an edge so that when they are stacked next to each other, I can really see what I have by way of fabric. I am also careful to make sure that I always tag the fabric. So here, this is a 2-yard piece. I've included the date when I purchased it, the store I got it from, and the price I paid per yard. So I will add that little tag, and it's just a scrap of paper, to my yardage so that if I'm working on a project and I know that I need 2.5 yards, well, my little tag here says I only have 2 yards of this one, so I know to keep looking. So then once I have these little bundles, there are several ways that I can store them. Now, I happen to have these wonderful racks from the Container Store. They have similar ones at IKEA, but at the Container Store you can choose the depth of the drawers. So these drawers are just about exactly the same depth as my fabrics. I believe they're about 7 inches deep, 7.5 inches deep. This is sort of the second drawer size, I think. And so all of my fabrics fit in there quite neatly, and I can just pull the drawer out and see what I have. I do arrange them by color, so each drawer has a different color, which also makes it easier for me to see what I have. Typically, I know that I'm either looking for a print, and the sort of busy prints are stored together, and then everything else is stored by color. So, and so red and purple are probably in the same drawer, yellow and gold, brown and black are together with gray, so that they're at least sort of in the same family. Now, another way that you can store these is on shelves. So here you can see that I have some of the fabrics on the shelves. Because these cabinets are closed, it also protects the fabrics from fading. That's two of the biggest things that can damage our fabrics is sunlight and dust. So with my drawers being under my main work table, they are somewhat sheltered from the light. I have had a few pieces that still faded along the top edge where it was exposed to the light, but it's a pretty good way of keeping the light and the dust off of the fabrics. The same with the cabinets. If it's a closed cabinet, you're protecting it from the light and from the dust. When I need to store bolts, I do that in the same cabinets, but if I were to put the bolts side by side where I could see the edges of all of them, I wouldn't be able to fit as many in the cabinet. So since these are mostly bolts of fabrics that I use for production kits, and I know that all of these fabrics are kept in this same cabinet, I found boxes, cardboard boxes, that were the same width as the bolts and the same depth as my cabinet. And then I can slide them in and out as if they were drawers as well. You can also store them in a simple cardboard box and slide them under the bed if you have some space limitation. When it comes to small pieces, less than a fat quarter, then I will store those pieces in plastic clear bins on the shelf. That way all of those little pieces are also divided up by size and by color. So I know if I'm just needing small pieces of something for, say, an applique, I'll go to those little bins first to see if I have small scraps that will suit the purpose. So I hope this gives you some ideas on storing your fabrics so that they're not only protected from the elements, but you can see what you have when you need it. Until next time, happy sewing.